one of my favorite districts. And I'm going to say this because they have always been very warm and welcome. You can see how passionate they are. Bala, Karen, and Aroma, they have been absolutely amazing. They're always working hard on membership and because they love Rotary altogether. But I really, really appreciate you guys, and I really appreciate how you welcome me all the time. So thank you so much. But so let's get started. So yes, my name is Diana Edwards. I am the Regional Membership Officer as part of RI staff. I am on the Membership Development team. I work with all the districts in zones 28 and 32. So those are the East Coast regions and Canada. My role as an RMO consists of assisting the zone and district leaders with membership resources, engagement strategies. We have attraction strategies. I help clubs with their stories, best practices, and solution to actual challenges, and also my membership data and reporting. So I'm gonna pull up my PowerPoint for you guys. Am I able to co-host? All right, awesome, let's see. Of course, you guys are not seeing anything, I don't think. Why are they doing?
Not yet, Diana.
Yeah. There we go. All right. We're all good, right, Roma? Okay.
Yes, we are.
Okay. So we're going to actually kind of just go over why members leave and stay. So we're going to briefly cover what it means to create a vibrant environment in your actual club. We're starting there, but I want to keep in mind that in that mindset, when we later go into strategies for attracting and recruiting members, we're going to follow those up by some ideas and some best practices for engaging those members. And we'll wrap it up with some actual resources. So let's look at this. What are the top 3 things members say that they actually want in Rotary? When we look at what potential and current members of both Rotary and Rotaract value most, some interesting trends appear. Both list participating in service projects to positively impact my community as the community that they value the most. But potential members and younger professionals in particular, they also want to make change globally and foster their careers through professional development and networking. So in our research shows that prospective members are also looking for opportunities to grow professionally and personally. So Rotary and Rotaract can actually offer them that. You don't have to offer a formal professional development strategy for members to achieve their goals. Every service project or event you hold is a chance for someone to lead and grow. So the current members, however, they value the community's service, the friendship and the fellowship, and connecting with people outside of work and outside of their circle of friends. So even when the both groups cite make a positive impact through service as their top reason for joining or staying, they both each have different motivations. So, and what are the top 3 things that actually make them leave, right? So according to a recent member experience survey conducted by Rotary International, 30% of those former members cited the cost or time as the #1 reason that they actually leave. The job of a Rotarian should never be a time commitment, like too great for a busy professional to consider. Otherwise, we're closing the door to contributions of the people we need most in Rotary, the ones with the potential for decades of Rotary service and leadership. We actually need to meet people right where they are, whatever stage in life they're in, and welcome them. A growing number of the party members also cited the club environment and unmet expectations as a reason for leaving. So actually imagine being excited to be a member of Rotary only to discover that the experience you promised wasn't available. As we build a stronger future for our organization, it's good that we're reaching out to new people and introducing them to Rotary. It's important that our clubs reflect the communities we serve and deliver the things our members want to join for. So let's find every opportunity to show we value each and every member and participate. Let's seize the moment to build on what we've actually learned, to embrace our new reality, to welcome new faces, and to find additional ways to shine. So more diverse voices in our clubs and in our leadership will help Rotary stay in touch with a changing world. This is how we will have a continuing impact on the world. And if you need help along the way, of course, Rotary has tons of resources that will help you reach those goals. So feeling welcome and comfortable with other club members is the single most important variable when it comes to both member satisfaction and member retention. As comfort increased, the probability of having a higher satisfaction with membership increased as well. So in fact, a member who is not all comfortable with other members is 2 to 4 times more likely to terminate their membership than a member who is extremely comfortable. This applies not to just current club members, but to anyone and everyone who engages with Rotary. So no matter who they are, where they are in the world, or how long they've been in Rotary or connected with us, all members, prospective members, and other participants deserve and expect to feel valued, respected, and welcomed. So research shows that clubs that have more freedom to determine how they hold their meetings, who they invite to the membership, and that actually defines that engagement, are more vibrant and have a greater ability to grow. There are so many ways that clubs can utilize flexibility to meet prospective and current members' needs, simply by one, updating your club bylaws. We could talk about meeting formats. Obviously, we've seen the pandemic force clubs to actually change their meeting format. And some are finding that they can engage people who are no longer attending in-person meetings because of their schedule. So an actual meeting can also be a social, a service project, a tour on a local bus. The sky is actually the limit. Then we have the meeting frequencies. That can vary actually, as long as clubs are offering 2 opportunities to actually meet per month. So be sure to enter any additional information that you need to in My Rotary. Club can offer like different membership types. You have the corporate that we were just speaking about. You have associate, family, young professional. You still report these members as active or honorary, but you'll keep track of them actually locally. Then there are the different club models that we have that emerged. You have cause-based clubs, passport clubs, satellite clubs. We have all these guys on My Rotary for many of those that we have here. So some clubs will revitalize themselves by adopting a cause or shifting the focus of their club. Then of course, clubs can actually relax or tighten their attendance, depending on what works best for them. Encourage that engagement over the attendance. I'm gonna say that again. It's okay to do this. Encourage the engagement over attendance. And having multiple ways to participate helps with that. So I wanna show you, I actually came across quite a few clubs that have been doing some amazing work over the past 2 years since the pandemic has happened. And I wanted to share a few of these stories with you. So the first one is the Rotary Club of Clear Creek County 2000. They actually nearly doubled their membership in 18 months by making simple but effective changes to how they engage with people in their community. Not only did their small club of 12 members grow to actually 23, but they grew their female membership from 0 to 7 members. And this is what they did. So they had socials. They started hosting a couples mixer annually at their local brewery and invited their members and local leaders like the mayor, the county commissioners, and the newly retired, and also other people that attended. So at the mixer, they actually offered the attendees drinks and hors d'oeuvres, but also made a point to speak briefly about their club, but also inviting their members to chime in with their personal and positive club experiences. They had an actual cause. So at each mixer, they clearly emphasized the focus on their efforts, which was support the children of Clear County Creek. They did so by sponsoring those attending RILA, building a greenhouse for the high school, and providing a weather station for science students. Then they also made themselves visible. The club decided to try out new fundraisers to engage both new and existing members in a fun and unique way. They did so by hosting the Mobster Lobster Fest, where live lobsters were flown from Maine and folks came dressed up in costumes. So they actually fundraised from this event. They actually used this to create academic and vocational scholarships for their students. So then they also did this with culture. So their meetings felt like a giant round table, welcoming members while encouraging new ideas, friendships, and camaraderie. Then we have the actual club of North Cobb. They actually have nearly doubled the size of its club in the past 5 years, growing from 33 members to currently 61 members by word of mouth. So every new Rotarian is asked what project or initiative that they are passionate about. And the club makes sure that they engage in a project or activity relating to it. Those new Rotarians tell their friends, who in turn visit and become members. This approach has created a diverse, energetic, and vibrant club experience. Then we have the Rotary Club of Irvine. They used to host a service project at an annual fun run benefiting cancer patients. The project gathered runners afterwards to make blankets for chemotherapy patients. When the run was canceled last year, they held the project safely distanced and they used their masks in the park. So for volunteers who didn't feel safe participating in person, there was an actual drive-through where blanket materials were placed in the trunk and they were able to return them later on that week. The club had also held mini socials where a member would host groups of 6 or less for a dinner at their homes in an outdoor space. They actually had also a speed networking social. That consisted of the clubs hosted the event on Zoom with 2 other clubs. They facilitated a networking exercise where attendees were able to split up in breakout groups of 4 people to interview each other, personal and business questions, for about 20 minutes at a time. And then they are actually super friendly, family friendly. So the teenager that you actually see on the top right corner has been attending meetings with his parents since he was 8 years old. I'm sure you guys heard this kind of story all the time. The club even made him an honorary treasurer. This was probably what was really unique for me. They made him an honorary treasurer where he could collect the happy bucks and help them manage the actual cash box at their fundraiser and service events. This actually helped him re-engage in Rotary, but he's actually been mentored by several members and has made new friends, and his engagement in service helped him get a scholarship for college. So he'll always remember Rotary throughout life. And this one for me, the Rotary Club of Johannesburg, they actually only get together or talk on Zoom about their travels around the world. And this is how they actually connect. So this particular club, it is a cause-based club because they're coming together to talk about virtual traveling. So now more than ever, we have the chance to connect with each other differently, to offer more opportunities for people to join our meetings, to support their communities, and to grow personally and professionally. So clubs around the world are adapting by taking advantage of this flexibility. I'm going to share with you some ways clubs are meeting the diverse needs of their members and their communities. So starting a satellite club to give qualified people who can attend club meetings a chance to join in Rotary. You also have changing when and how clubs often meet. Some examples are actually meeting just twice a month, switching from a sit-down meal to a less formal and less expensive gathering, or replacing a regular meeting with a social event or a service project. So you can also offer a new membership type. For example, we said offering a corporate membership to attract multiple members of the same company, or an associate membership for younger professionals who want an option that costs less and requires less time. You can also develop a cause-based club to attract and engage those members who are passionate about a specific issue like water or peace. So here we have the satellite club. We're going to talk about that, the how, what, when, where, and why. So what is the actual satellite club? A satellite is a club within a club offering a different membership experience from their sponsor club, but it is still closely tied to the sponsor club. Members of satellites are technically members of that actual sponsor club. The satellite should have at least 8 members technically to start, and the more members there are, the more successful the club is likely to charter. They can meet at totally different times, have a totally different due structure, different projects from their sponsor club. Satellite clubs can set up their own board and have their own officers. However, instead of a president, a satellite club has a chair. So if a club is ambitious, they can have multiple satellites though. But I wouldn't actually advise that unless the club and the community has the capacity to support those multiple satellites. So ultimately, the goal of creating a satellite is to mentor the club until it's ready to charter on its own, hopefully setting the satellite up for a long-term success as a healthy, vibrant club. But also please note that there are no deadlines by which the satellite actually needs to charter. So when we talk about why, what's the purpose of a satellite, starting a satellite club? Could it be used to try out new flexibility in meeting format or membership types? Would the satellite create value in the community where the sponsor club did not? Is it necessary to form the satellite, or could the sponsor club better benefit from utilizing flexibility in that meeting format? Who's actually the key demographic the satellite would be for? Professionals with a specific area or focus, families, including their children, even a Rotaract club trying to form a new Rotary club. Then we have the when and the where. Where and when is the satellite gonna meet? What place and time would be most convenient, interesting, and affordable for the best experience? How to actually get this started? How to maintain a healthy relationship between the sponsor club and the satellite? So there's a satellite application that needs to be submitted to RI. Transparency and communication are key. So feelings change so often, but it's best that if the clubs check in on a regular basis. It is not mandatory, but the sponsor club could include the satellite chair in their board meetings. Also, the satellite members are included in the sponsor club invoice on Rotary Club Central, but they can also support sponsor clubs. So they have to talk to discuss the do's and the goals. So one of the biggest things about Rotary is that it connects people from different backgrounds, nationalities, professions, regions, and genders. Although there are many differences amongst Rotarians, we come together for one common purpose, one common goal, and that is to provide positive change in our communities. So think for a moment about this. How welcome does your club appear? And how does your club feel to a person with a marginalized identity aspect? This requires you to actually step into other shoes to think about how your club feels to someone who may be different than your current members. So as we talk about, we've talked about everything that we can talk about with membership for now. I did want to leave you guys with some best practices. So because this has been a crazy 2 years now, I think that actually checking in this past year has given Rotary clubs a lifeline for communication and connection, friendship, and services. It's been a great reminder that we don't all know what the other person is actually dealing with. And coming together, the way we've been coming together has been working for some. So if you have a smaller club, you or your membership committee can add it to their checklist to check on members, especially if they've actually missed several meetings. If you have a larger club, the board would probably delegate who's checking on who. Again, it's not to police anyone, but just to make sure everyone is okay. And if they're not okay, you or your club might be able to offer them some support. So showing appreciation and acknowledgement. That's taking a moment to acknowledge the work being done by members can really be meaningful. I was actually talking to a club president who decided to give himself reminders on his meeting agendas to acknowledge each member at his club meeting over a period of time. So by the end of the year, the attendance at his meetings had increased by 40% because people like to hear when they're doing good and appreciate it. Also, you want to make time for fun. You can add those fun activities, build them into your meeting, do poll members on what type of fellowship they want to do outside of the meetings, like cooking classes, you got hiking, wine tasting, anything you guys think that is fun for you. So you also want to develop or update your new member orientation. Make membership more equitable. So as I'm closing, we have tons of Rotary membership resources for you guys to check out on My Rotary. We have the Be a Vibrant Club, introducing new members to Rotary. I would encourage each and every club president that is on this call, that are not on this call, they hopefully listen to later, to do the Rotary Club health check. This will give you an idea of what your members are looking to change or looking to enhance, or any issues that they may not have spoken out loud that they can probably do on the health check that you can find out about. But then you also have me as your resource. I am always more than welcome and happy to answer any emails or phone calls, questions about membership, or to speak at any clubs via Zoom at the time that we're meeting this way until we're back in the office. So I really appreciate you guys taking the time to listen to me today. Thank you so much.
Diana, thank you so much for your great presentation, plus the message about membership flexibility, as well as how we have to be adaptable and resilient, not only because of the pandemic, but going forward in the changing and turbulent world. Now, having said that, I got 4 things for our leaders. One is, let's help Diana to remove those slides 7, 8, 9, and 10, the Clear Creek, North Cobb, Irvine, and Joburg slides, and replace that with District 6380 slides. So when she goes on her road journey, she can speak about the great accomplishment that District 6380 clubs have accomplished and will continue to. That's number 1. Number 2, our clubs not only will continue to be vibrant, but will also connect the vibrancy to building our public image. And many of you heard from Karen last week about how we are going to do that. So please stay tuned. Number 3 is relating to appreciation and acknowledgement. And I wanted to share with each of you that I will be personally there, and every other district leader, whoever can be there, whenever we induct a new member. And also whenever we have a Paul Harris new member who has been appointed or become a Paul Harris Society member or a Paul Harris member. Okay, so that's my personal commitment to all of you. Number 4, you all know Roma, who is our district membership chair, and she has built a super brilliant, motivational and passionate team. And Roma, if you could please introduce yourself and your members so that our incoming district and presidential leaders can know more about it. And then we'll take questions.
Okay, thanks, Diana. That was actually really informative for everybody. But I do want to introduce my membership team because the team is there for you guys. I don't know how many of you have met our regional membership leads, but we have created the district membership team to support each of the sectors. And so through the sectors, of course, the clubs, we request that you guys invite the membership leads to your clubs, and they will help not only maybe collaborate on some ideas, which other clubs have done, but share best practices across the district, et cetera. I do just want to just share my screen really quickly, just to, if you can see this, to introduce who the membership team is. So we have Stuart Keir, who has sectors 1 and 2, which is all of Canada, basically. Sharna Hatcher, who's also been just named as our district governor nominee. I think I've got the title correct, designate. And she has sectors 6 and 7. I can send you guys a list of all the clubs within each of the sectors. Collier Smith, who's our DGN after Bala, has sectors 3, 5. Actually, we share 3 and 3 right now because Collier has so much on his plate. But 5 and 8 and 12. And John White, who is on this call, has sectors 9, 10, 11. We are looking for additional people from your clubs to help support the membership team and to come be part of our team. And really the only qualification that we have for them is that they have a great smile and love people. I think that's really the biggest challenge, is so they can go out there and help and talk to your members. With that, I guess I'm turning it back over to Bala for questions, and if you have any questions for me as well. I did put in the chat what our district membership numbers were, just for your guys' information. And I do report out on our membership numbers by club and by sector on a monthly basis at our membership team meeting, which is held once a month. It's on the last Tuesday of every month on at 7 o'clock via Zoom mostly. And I invite all of you guys to start attending that. It is a mixture right now of presidents and membership leads, because we still have a few clubs that don't have membership leads named, but people are doing multiple roles. So membership, you probably have heard me say this a few dozen times, but membership is not just for the membership team. It's really for your entire club. So please do get as many people involved in membership, and we really would like your support for that. And I do have a help wanted sign out front for membership, for more regional membership leads to help Collier and John and Sharna out. Back to you.
All right, now, thank you, Roma. One other I wanted to also request, as Karen mentioned in her one of the training sessions about club committees, and also making sure start lining up a team, think about who you would like your membership lead to be starting July 1st. And they don't have to be named on July 1st. You can name them now so that they can attend some of the meetings that Roma has talked about, and they can learn, they can transition into that role. But more important, getting to build a relationship not only at the club level, but also at the district level. The same thing goes with the foundation lead and other things. So with that, we're opening up for more questions. Let's try to make it as interactive as possible.
Just have one last comment since I saw it through the chat. The membership team meetings on the last Tuesday, the link should be on the calendar and the district page. So if you go to the district page, and it's the same link every week or every month, excuse me. And if you don't find it, let me know and I'll help you guys out. But all of you guys are invited.
Bala, can I add something possible?
Please.
Yes. So I wanted to encourage you all. Like, I am always looking for stories to share, and many clubs we don't know about because we have so many. We're regional, right? So I have over 50 something districts. So you can imagine how many clubs that is. So it is important that when you guys are doing anything phenomenal that you want me to know about, or anything exciting that you would like for me to hear, you're more than welcome to email me that information, because I love to see it and I like to show it and share it. I put it on my presentations. I put it in the Rotary blog if it makes it there. Sometimes some has made it to the Rotary magazine, Rotarian magazine. So if you have some stories that you want to share, please send them my way. I would really appreciate it.
Diana, thank you for that. So let's make a commitment amongst our team. 4 stories per month, starting July. That'll cover our entire district. Let's make sure we keep our, I mean, I'm kind of biased, but I'm not really. Let's keep our district on the top by sending Diana 4 stories per month, 1 a week. Thank you.
We're going to overwhelm you, Diana.
I'm going to have to
Karen,
create a
over
folder
to
for
you.
y'all.
There is a question there. And what we will do is that Rose from Dresden asked if we can put her chat, your email in the chat box, so we can send that your slide deck to all of the people on this call and not on the call as well. Right, Diana? Oh, you already put it there. Okay. Karen, you're on mute.
I'm ready.
And
Ready when you
Karen
guys are.
is our very energetic training leader.
I do want to just also, since you guys are going to be at the helm of your clubs next year, it's important that you guys don't get lost in the numbers. The numbers are important. We're keeping track of the numbers. It's all really about what Diana just said. It's about your stories, about your experiences. And the more you share your experiences and why you're in Rotary, why you're staying in Rotary, the more that people are going to want to listen to you and really you'll get your enthusiasm will be contagious. Let me put it that way. So don't get lost in the numbers that we have this or we have that. That's important, but the numbers will come through when your stories come through.
Henny, you have a question?
Okay,
Yeah,
that was for Roma. You show those two numbers from the members. We have in the district 1477, and it is now 1455.
Yes, there was,
we're down.
so Henny, for your information, I think Diana can probably confirm this, is usually in December and at the end of June, we see a lot of clubs cleaning up their data. Members that haven't shown up or they haven't paid the dues, they've been terminated. So December, we always see a decline in numbers. And in June, at the end of June, we always see a decline in numbers. Since I came on as membership chair a couple years ago, 2 years ago, I noticed that and dug deep into it and did a history. And sure enough, that's what I've noticed, July, excuse me. So it will start going up again. We're gaining, we've got 87 new members. Bala can contest to the fact, yes, since July. Bala can contest to the fact that Shaker Mehta gave us our goal for this district for another 85 new members. And our current district governor is on board with that and doing everything we can to, help seek those new members. So we will be on a positive trend. I'm confident, unless we have another pandemic type of thing, but I think everybody's getting used to this new normal. So.
Yeah, because that's basically what I want to stretch, because I thought, oh, we're down, and I know we were up. I thought, just like, am I crisscrossed?
Nope, you were correct. November, we were
okay,
up.
good.
We were up,
Okay.
and then the net numbers, because of the cleanup in December, went down. I just checked it about 10 minutes ago, but I would bet you by January, you'll see the trend start to go back up again.
Good.
I have a question for Roma. But before I ask the question, let's go over to Ruth. Ruth has a question.
yeah, I have a question for Diana. So we are a club with 12 members. And you had a club there that you were talking about that had grown to 23. I think they were the Lobster Mobsters. I love it. What was the name of that club? Because I would love to have them come and speak with us.
That is such a good idea. I think that including them is awesome. And I think that they would totally appreciate it. I'll put it in the chat for everyone to see. Is that okay?
Perfect. Yeah, I think it would be fun to have them. They can, obviously we do Zoom, so they can come in and somebody can Zoom with us. So
Yeah,
that next year we can be one of the folks you're talking about.
I'll add you guys in my
Thank you, Ruth. Any
Thank
other
you.
questions? Let's make it as interactive as possible. Any other questions for Diana or for any of this members except me? Okay, while you're thinking, I have a
Excuse me.
question for Roma.
I have one question.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, please.
We had talked about temporary membership. Is there a classification for that? Where somebody is, they haven't really fully committed, but they seem like they're going to be committed, like a 3-month membership?
So they're not
Creek.
they're not actually going to be an active member, meaning they won't show up in data, they won't show up on reports until they're paying Rotary dues. So however, according to Rotary International, but if you guys from a club or a district standpoint, if you have some process that you have in place that's saying, hey, this particular person will be here this many months or whatever you plan to do with them, and they're a temporary, I've never heard that before, but just know that until they won't be active until they're paying Rotary dues.
And I see in the chat, somebody said we call them Rotary Friends. Is that just an individual, like in name only type of thing?
Yeah, see, that sounds like something that's club or the clubs would do on their own, which is perfectly fine.
It's more to keep them on the distribution and to invite them to projects and things like that. And they haven't committed yet to becoming a member, but they're involved in basically the club projects and things like that. And they are on the distribution on your email list.
Okay,
We're
so,
taking one-
so along that lines right there, right now we have, I think every club has like a major employer in the area that could be, if you landed them, that they could account for a lot of different members. And sometimes there's like a community outreach person who's in charge of, being the liaison between the employees of an organization and the Rotary. Is there a way to get that liaison, like a subscription to the Rotary magazine or things of that nature, some of our high caliber stuff that we send out on a regular basis without them actually being a member?
So I don't know how the Rotary Magazine subscription works. Val, you've got ours. How does that work?
You have to be an active member and you have to have credentials in myrotary.org. And then you can either ask for a digital or a paper copy, but everything works through being a member, and then that kind of triggers the whole process. So I'm going to move on to two more questions, and then we'll move on to the training. Susan and then John.
Hi. Yeah, I just wanted to get back to the point of the Friends of Rotary. I actually, that's sort of how I got started with it, is I got involved with a person I was working for with Rotary, and I was hoping to have the Rotary support another organization I was involved in that does mission work in Guatemala. And they invited me to meetings. They invited me to participate in service projects. And I did that for about a year and got to know everybody really well, and then was, more than happy to become a member. So I think it's a really good thing to be able to do for people, is not to make them commit immediately if they're not quite ready, and just to involve themselves. And I thought it was very, very valuable, and I was happy to have that opportunity.
John.
Hey, thanks. One of the things that you can set up is a formal thing, is a Rotary Community Corps. And that's where you have a collection of people that aren't Rotarians, paid up Rotarians, but they're ones you can call on when you have service projects and things like that. I think it takes something like 10 people to be able to form something like that. So those are kind of what one of the people was saying, that it's, they're not really members, but they're really part of the family. And plus, I think you can give Rotary subscriptions to people that aren't Rotarians, Rotary magazine subscriptions, because we do that for some of our members that are no longer members because of infirmities or age. And we send them a free magazine every month, or we pay for their $12 subscription anyway. So, okay.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you, John. So we'd like to invite back Karen, our great district trainer, and also the multi-press registrar, immediate past district governor, Karen.
Hi, thank you. Appreciate the time tonight to be with people. To kind of back up with John on our club in the past has always included a Rotarian subscription to our local library. So it's part of what they have access to. So I know there's some ways to do that. I just don't remember flat out how that happens. But tonight we wanted to follow up a little bit on the information that Diana had shared with us about membership and how that works for all of us. Hopefully my screen share is up and you can take a look and see what's going on. We wanted to talk about the idea of membership matters, and that's actually something from my year as governor that we kind of carried forward, but membership really and truly does matter. And we talked over the last couple of meetings about that synergy. Our member engagement helps us do really great community service projects, which leads to increased foundation giving, gives us more community service, increases our public image, which brings more members in. And that synergy is very, very important. And when we look at membership, retention is a key factor. A lot of us do a really great job of recruiting members and bringing them into the Rotary family. The sad part is that sometimes they stay for a year, 3, 5 years, sometimes they leave us sooner. So keeping current members is a really big part about club stability and our overall well-being. And it is, many clubs don't recognize the retention problem, if why their numbers are changing and why it's a little bit more difficult for them. So clubs that constantly lose members and compensate by inducting new members are really not managing their growth and retention well. So we want to look at that idea, there's a membership life cycle, and how we manage that lifestyle, I keep saying that, life cycle helps us a lot. So we can look at acquisition of bringing in new members and how we integrate them into Rotary, how we share the information about a Rotary, get them involved, engage them, give them opportunities to participate actively, get them to renew their commitment to Rotary. Might be a gift to the Rotary Foundation. It might be stepping up to a committee. It might be leading a committee and moving forward. And once they have that renewal, we bring them back again, and we continue to integrate their new interests, their new passion, continue to engage them, and continue to renew their commitment to the organization. And it does take some work on our part, but it has a lot of benefits to it. So when we look at the idea of member retention, we have a couple of steps we can go through. A lot of this happens through Rotary Club Central, and there's a couple of tabs we'll be directing you to. But first and foremost, homework for the over the week was to come and really have a good understanding of where you're at with your membership. Taking that 5-year look back, what was your member acquisition? How many new members did you bring in? How many members did you retain? How did you move them through that membership cycle? So first, you want to look at your club's historical and existing member retention percentages, and you can get there at signing into My Rotary, clicking on Take Action to go to Rotary Club Central and look at that member visibility and growth. After you have that information, determine when members leave your club. Again, we're going back to My Rotary, Take Action, Club Central, but there's a membership termination profile. And this report shows when people are most likely to terminate the club and the reasons that they give for leaving. And a lot of this information helps inform us on how the club is doing and what members' expectations perhaps weren't being met or what else was going on. So we look at that membership termination profile and see what's happening. This is also the profile that Rotary International pulls a lot of information, gives us that collective information. Diana shared a slide that talked about reasons that people leave Rotary, and we'll be looking at those a little bit more. In the third step, we want to generate strategies for keeping members, and that's where that membership committee comes in. You want to look at those reports with the membership committee and ask some hard questions. Who's leaving the club? Are they veteran members or new members, or a combination of both? But more importantly, why are they leaving Rotary? And with that understanding, in step 4, we can go to develop an action plan. The membership committee can report their findings to the club, and collectively the club membership and club leadership could really begin to talk about how you might address the areas of weakness and build on truly what the club is doing well, how the club is continuing to move people forward. So those 4 steps help us kind of really look at that membership retention and understanding why we're losing members and what we can do about it. Again, we do a pretty good job of recruiting members and bringing them into Rotary. And if we can engage them and increase that member experience, we're really going to have that opportunity of keeping members for a longer period of time. So understanding why members leave, important to always conduct an exit survey that's going to give you the information as to why they might not be continuing on with us. And as I said, Rotary International has conducted that research on reasons why people leave the clubs. And they've broken it down into a number of different timeframes, and looking at those, because each one of those timeframes when members choose to leave might have a different strategy and a different solution that we can help in that membership engagement and membership retention. So sometimes we recruit members and they stay for less than a year. And Rotary is telling us that usually these members leave Rotary because they were not fully informed about the responsibilities of membership before joining. Maybe they didn't know the full due structure, the expectations, the meetings, the support that they would need, or they're not really educated fully about Rotary, of what we do and the important ways that we do good in our own communities and globally. So they're not fully informed before joining. Rotary's found that these members usually stay for less than a year. If in your survey you find out that members usually stay for 1 to 2 years, we're really finding that they don't feel engaged in club events and activities. Their fellowship expectations are not being met, or they're having difficulty attending meetings because of competing priorities. And Diana told us that, Rotary should never kind of compete with work and our family life, but sometimes we put too much responsibility. We maybe ask too often, or have too many things that are crowding a person's work and family schedule. But for 1 to 2 years, maybe they feel a little bit overwhelmed by the club, or they're not engaged in the club at all. When we look at members who stay for 3 to 5 years, again, fellowship expectations might not be met. They're frustrated with the club leadership, or they're having difficulty attending those meetings again because of competing priorities. And sometimes people are in clubs, they really are invested in Rotary, they believe in Rotary, they believe in all the good work that Rotary does, but they become frustrated with club leadership because they don't feel their voice is being heard, or they don't feel that a project or a passion that they might have personally is being fulfilled. And so in 3 to 5 years, they figured out they're butting up maybe against a wall, and they're not going to find that kind of satisfaction, and they choose to leave Rotary. Members who stay for 6 to 10 years, again, fellowship expectations aren't being met, club leadership, or they leave, they retire, or they relocate. In the 6 to 10, if they're leaving to retire or to relocate, gives us different kinds of connections. Do we reach out and find a new club for them? If they're relocating, do we find the club in their new community to reach out to our former member and invite them to continue their journey with Rotary? Do maybe before they even make that move, give them the idea and the contact and get them caught up and set up with Rotarians in their new community. I know snowbirds are a big part of where we're at. Zoom has kind of changed that a little bit, because I know our members check in from wherever they might be in the winter months. But sometimes that retirement or that relocation has people leaving Rotary. And we also have members who leave after 10 years. They're just not interested in the club meetings or activities. Retirement, family obligations, financial constraints, health problems, all of these kinds of things. And when we talk about reaching out to members and continue to keep them supportive, a lot of those things might be health problems of how do we make sure that we're still connecting with them and letting them know that their family of Rotary cares and has concern for them. Not interested in club meetings and activities means we're not engaging them. We're not meeting their expectations. We're not providing them that membership experience that engages them and keeps them active and keeps them thinking about things. So we can see from all of this that there's a lot of different reasons why members might be leaving Rotary. But what I wanted to have in a breakout session is to put a question to you. And in that breakout, I'm going to ask you to discuss the reasons members leave Rotary. And this could come from the homework that you did, from your own research, from what you know or your experience has been with your own club. But when you talk about those reasons, and we went through the different time frames when they're there, maybe lack of engagement, not having great faith in leadership, other obligations, other commitments that people might have, what kinds of things can you do in your club to reverse member attrition and enhance the member club experience? So I'm going to put that question into the chat, and we're going to set up breakout rooms for everyone to go ahead and take that. So I think I have to pause sharing to get those breakout rooms set up because I don't see them. There they are. We have 32 people. So we're going to put about 6 people in a breakout room, which will give us 5 breakout rooms. If that sounds like a good thing, we're going to do. Give you about 15 minutes or so to talk about it. Again, the pattern will be to have someone report back when we come back into our larger session. So again, the question is in the chat. I have 5 breakout rooms. We're assigning you randomly, and I'm going to go ahead and create those rooms. So you should see something up on your screen that's going to ask you to join those rooms. And I'm not sure why Keys is sharing. There we go. So I'm going to open all of the rooms, and you should have that ability to go join them now. And Sage, did you find your breakout room? Oh, John, you could have stayed. Hey, Bala, me and you, huh? I have to put my timer on so I remember to call them back. There we go. So they should be able to have a pretty good discussion about that, looking at different ways that they can mitigate the attrition for members. Bala left. Hey, Roma.
Hello, hello. We had John White in the same room, so I said there's no sense in having 2 of us there.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Did Diana go to one of the rooms?
She was assigned, let me look. Yes, she's in room
good.
2.
Okay. Should I just randomly go into one then? Let's see.
Yeah, if you want to just kind of jump around, let me look. Room 1 has 7, the rest have 6. So any of the other rooms.
And
Diana's in 2. So
maybe I'll
3,
join
4,
3.
5.
Okay, I'll join 3. I was in 4 already, and that's where
Okay.
John is. Okay, I'm going to join 3.
All righty. You on mute?
Yeah, I'm on gallery. So looks like in-depth discussions are going on.
Good, good.
What we wanted, right? And
Yep, get them to think. They have about 3 minutes, so I'll give them maybe I can give them a 3-minute to close.
oh, good. So when do we want to play the Jennifer Jones video
At the end,
at the end? So you'll
we'll
give me
we'll
a
sign off.
cue?
I'm sorry?
I said you'll give me a cue?
Yeah.
Okay. Now Jennifer Jones video is 12 minutes.
Okay. I didn't know it was
I
that long.
couldn't really, I didn't know where to edit and all that. So I said, well, let's see how it goes. So,
Do you want to save it for the next round?
or we could just play a few minutes, or what do you think?
Well, they're going to come back at about 1:45, and then we
Okay.
wanted to debrief, so that
Okay.
12 minutes is probably going to push us over.
Okay.
So up to you. We can hold her until we go into the east, west, and the zoom into Canada.
Yeah, I was thinking about that, but I thought since this group, of course, we'll be meeting with them again, not public image, but some other, the thought process is we'll assemble the public image, and then public image will then roll it out to the presidents to another setting like this or some other form.
Mhm.
But I didn't know if we had another form right in January to roll it out to the presidents on this video. So that's why I was wondering what's your
Well, if we rolled it out today, we'd have to skip the debrief. Or we would hold them longer. And maybe once we started her video, they won't leave.
yeah, that's true. That's true. So let's try that and see how it goes.
Okay, let's try and get her video on at like 5 minutes to 8.
Okay.
All right. And
Perfect.
then I'm going to go ahead, and I think we might be early, but I think I might just go ahead and start the room close. So we'll just
Okay.
start that just a little bit early now. So they'll be back in a minute,
Perfect.
and we'll get a quick debrief from everyone.
Okay.
Welcome back.
Hello.
I always love how I've been doing this all day. Eastern Michigan is teaching remotely for the first 2 weeks in class. So I've been sending my students out into breakouts, and some of them come back right away. Some of them wait. Some of them it's like, okay, hi, here you're back. How's it going for you, David? The same?
So I'm completely face to face. Have been for this semester and last semester. Before
Okay.
that was online. It was horrible. So, but yeah, I'm at Georgia State University, and it seems like a lot of the very engaged students come face to face, and some of the less engaged students are staying online. So I'm okay with it.
Yeah, whoops, everyone's back, I think. There we
Okay.
go.
Oh, man.
Hey,
we were just
welcome
listening
back.
to a good story too from Marlon.
I always hate when someone's in mid-sentence and you get sucked back
Right.
into the room. So it's like,
I'm
welcome
like, beam me up,
back.
Scotty. There I am.
So just wanted, just in about 10 minutes or so, I have 5 rooms, so just a couple minutes per room. But if you can give me the top idea you think you had from your room, and I think I'm going to call, how about from room 1, Renee? Renee Flora?
David is speaking for us.
David,
Okay.
okay.
So one of the challenges or something that we've noticed is something in the case of how much is the financial obligation of being a Rotarian. And it starts off by having the conversation that there is something called dues that you have to have. The second part of the conversation is you do have to buy lunch on a frequent basis. And then there is the expectation that at some point you're going to contribute to a service program where there's a donation involved. Helping people understand those costs as they become recruited as members is important so they don't get blindsided. You have to be flexible in some situation. For example, with dues, you need to be able to possibly break it down into quarterly payments to make it a little bit more palatable for people.
Okay.
In the case of things like lunch, if we start to find the trend is that paying $15 or $20 a week for lunch,
Mhm.
becomes a burden for a majority of your members, you may want to pivot and do something like potluck type activities.
Something a
or
little
something
different,
less
yeah.
formal where lunch.
But I
you
do
know, where
like
lunch
that
is not
you're
included.
kind of reinforcing that idea that it's really having what the expectations are conversation before you bring those members in. Because without building those expectations, people kind of find out, go, well, you didn't know that, and then they didn't know that, then they get a little disillusioned. So it would take one thing to kind of push them out of the club. So good, thank you. It sounded like room one had really great discussions. In room
We're
two,
number one.
Yay,
Ah.
room number one, yes. In room two, we had Dave, David, Marcia, Mary, and Ruth, who's reporting out.
We didn't really choose anybody.
Oh, and you just talked, so as a good teacher, I'm gonna say, Ruth, it's on you.
It's on me. So I think what the crux of it was that many of us have our smaller groups, and we also have you talked about that person that leaves after 10 years. For us, it's like after 20 years. It's that kind of aging out, the health aspect as well, and just a different point in life and not able to do all of that. So we really talked about how do we involve that younger group, or how do we get that next generation that's gonna, take us to the next 10 years.
Right.
So I know in our group, we recently just got a brand new member. She's a little bit younger. She has a younger child. One of the reasons she chose Rotary, she could have chosen lots of different service groups. She chose Rotary because she wanted to serve the community, but also she wanted to be able to involve her daughter in it.
That's good.
And so we kind of have brainstormed as a group. Actually, Lori has really brainstormed, and she's gone back and looked at some of the past members who now are at that same point as this young woman, and maybe think about how do we make it a little bit more family friendly? How do we involve them, and how do we involve their families?
Those are great ideas. Thank you.
And then I apologize, I didn't remember the gentleman's name, but they have been sponsoring Boy Scout troops and involving that younger group and making an impact there and making an impression on them of who Rotary is and the value that it has. So that's
good.
basically what we
Nice.
spoke about. And being
Who was-
flexible and being flexible.
I heard
There you
another
go.
voice chime in
Oh,
on the Boy
that was
Scouts.
Dave. That was Dave that was doing that with the Boy
Dave?
Scouts. So
Okay.
I gotta commend
Yeah.
him. He's got 3 people in his club and they're doing
Yeah.
this. So
Yeah.
Sounds good.
fantastic. Rotarians.
Okay.
We're trying.
In room 3, we had Linda, Al, Diana was in that group, Donna, Ken, Marlene, Roma, and Rosemary. Power group there. Who's reporting? Can I pick someone?
You can. I was just gonna see who was speaking.
Go ahead.
Either
Helen?
Marlene, or who was speaking from Livingston?
Yeah, I can do it if you want.
Okay, go ahead.
Would you like me to share?
Yes,
Okay.
please.
Okay, so we talked about you can't control some of the things, the reasons people leave. It's just a normal kind of life thing. So we want to control what we can control. So I think the topic I was most interested in was when Ken was sharing about how they had trouble keeping the 30-year-olds because the people were embarrassed to have their kids in the background with the Zoom meetings and stuff. So they had to reassure them that they loved the kids. And so they made their club family friendly, just like the previous speaker was talking about. And they have all kinds of activities for kids. I think
Great.
that's something we can all do.
And it makes a difference to be able to involve the families, especially if we're looking for younger. If a younger person with 30-something needs to choose between family time or Rotary time, they're probably going to pick family time unless they can incorporate their family in some way. Good ideas. Thank you. In room 4, we had Bob, John, Kathy, Sage, and Wendy. Who's going to report?
I'll do it.
Thank you.
Okay. In our group, we talked about what seems to be a common issue in that we have a lot of elderly members who are no longer physically able to do the things that they used to do. So the focus really is on finding younger members.
Okay.
Now, one idea is since the one-use plastic bags are being phased out by many retailers. I know Kroger is phasing them out in 2025. People are going to need durable bags to use when they shop. And we could have members of our club who are elderly and can't do physically demanding things. They can hand out Rotary labeled reusable
Nice.
bags at different locations where young people would tend to go, different kinds of businesses. A grocery store, for example, attracts people of all ages. Or we could do it at a shopping mall, at stores that are frequented by younger folks. And we could, another thing we could do is offer memberships to speakers at our meetings. Okay, many times the speakers will be younger than the members of our club. We could set up a community interact club. All right, instead of like having a high school, it could be like a community sort of interact club.
Okay.
We could have hybrid meetings to solve the snowbird problem. Okay, and
Give you one more.
yeah, we could survey members about projects that they'd like. And that's about it.
Important to get those members surveyed and everything. And also, I think collectively, as we continue to meet, is to come up with ideas on how we really honor our senior members. Someone's mic is on. I don't want to shut everyone's off, but thank you. Is finding a way to make sure they stay engaged. It could be through an oral history or a lot of other things. You hold on just a second. Mute all. There we go. I just muted everyone. So when you come back on, someone will have to unmute themselves, but it'll take care of that chatter in the background. Let's go to group 5. It was Henny, Jennifer, Kays, Marlena, Randy, and Rose. Who's reporting from that group?
I think I was voluntold.
Okay.
I took the notes anyways.
Good job, Randy.
I think the consensus among us, I tried to pull about 5 bullet points together. It was more of a theme of kind of making it more personal. One club member talked about, committees within a club that might work with other service organizations. So in other words, it's not just things totally done within the club. It's connecting and collaborating with other service organizations to keep more of a freshness, which will not only try to prevent, members from leaving, but potentially could recruit members as well. Not the goal to steal or cherry pick members from other organizations, but it certainly opens the door to that. Adding more social events. In other words, have an opportunity for club members to really enjoy themselves more than it being all about having to do a fundraiser or a service project or something like that. But make sure you're doing enough social events so club members really form those long-standing relationships and friendships. Another club member talked about making it the club's club. It's not about leadership, but it's about what the club is aspiring to accomplish. What's the common synergy with what the club wants to do moving forward. So kind of again making it more personal. And again, just touched upon more smaller groups or subgroups, if you will, to make sure that everyone has an opportunity to be involved. I think that's probably the most important thing, is that someone just doesn't feel complacent or like you're just going through the same routine. I go to lunch every Wednesday, but that's it. I go to lunch. I'm not seeing the bigger picture. I don't feel connected. So really just trying to make sure everyone is connected on a more personal level.
And great, Randy, that's a great report to kind of wrap everything up. I think everyone has kind of brought in those ideas of really looking at that, creating synergy. We enhance member engagement. We make people feel that they have a voice, that they're a part of it. We reach out into community service. We do some really great work. We get the public image involved. I love the idea of, the reusable bags to go out, but however we might get the public image and get our presence in the community, helps us bring in more members, helps us do more community service, helps us support the foundation, helps do good works, not only locally, but across the globe. So all of those things in that synergy really begin to make sense for everyone as we begin to put that together. So again, I appreciate y'all. I thank you all for sharing your ideas. I think Bala has a closing message for us and actually going to share a video with us. Yes?
Thank you, Karen. What a great set of virtual sessions. Let's give a big hand to Karen. And this is not the end. This is just the beginning. But let's close this first set of sessions with a great message from one of our own, RI President-elect Jennifer Jones.
Greetings to you all. It is such a joy to be here with you today. The last 18 months have brought challenges, highs and lows, moments of hope, and unexpected setbacks. But through it all, Rotarians, the family of Rotary, Rotaractors, we've been there for each other. We've strengthened our bonds of friendship and service and relied on Rotary values to get us through the darkest days. We still have great hope that once again, we can be together in person. And it's this kind of hope that heals our hearts. I am overjoyed that President Shaker continues to shine a bright light on Rotary service at a time when the world needs us most. We have so much ability to change lives in our own communities and around the world. And sometimes the greatest change begins with ourselves. The world needs us now more than ever. And Rotarians need each other to stay connected and to continue to act against the ongoing pandemic, but to also finish the job on polio and to change lives through all of our areas of focus. We've been entrusted with leadership in our great organization, and now it's up to us to be brave and intentional in our actions. I want to share a story with you about when I served as a club president. I must say that I loved being a Rotary Club president so much that I really hated sitting down at the end of the year. That year was 2001, and I was one of President Rick King's Regal Eagles. It was also the year that will be forever remembered for the date 9/11. Who will ever forget what happened on that fateful Tuesday? My home club meets on Tuesdays around 10 a.m., and I started receiving calls and emails asking if our meeting would be canceled. Somehow I knew at that moment that we needed to be together, to be in shared experience. As you likely know, I'm Canadian, and that day, as the meeting began, we stood facing the American flag and sang the Star-Spangled Banner, their anthem, and wept alongside our friends on the other side of our border. Our speaker that day was a young Rotary scholar who was heading to Poland. We quickly changed the format, and he and I simply sat in front of the club and had a discussion. And he had the most profound observations about peace. The love and support for each other and for our American friends was profound. And it's times like these that you truly feel the impact of the family of Rotary. Over the past several months, these are the same kind of moments that have played out across the globe over and over again. Our ability to look out for each other, to weep together, to pray together, and to protect each other, both physically and mentally. I'm sure that many of you have heard this quote from Maya Angelou. She said, "I've learned that people will forget what you said. People will forget what you did, but they will never forget how you made them feel." That's the family of Rotary. I guess what I'm saying is be that person Be the kind of leader who is brave enough to say and do nice things for your members and their families, and they will never forget how you made them feel. And the even greater reward, you will never forget how it made you feel. I want to spend the rest of my time with you talking about something near and dear to my heart, the creation of Rotary moments in Rotary's public image. It used to be that we were encouraged to do our good work quietly and not for recognition. And it's been about the past decade where telling our story has become one of our key strategic initiatives. What we've learned is that when we tell our stories, like-minded people actually want to join with us. I believe it's one of our greatest membership tools. Who in this room doesn't have an amazing Rotary story? Each and every one of you have experienced the joy of a Rotary moment. It's taking it that next step and understanding when you share them that you can help to change people's lives. When the simple and the ordinary collide with intention, it becomes extraordinary. Rotary provides each of us with a platform, and a powerful one, to help shape how people see our organization. So what are the stories that you have to tell, and how can you share them? The best way that I can express it is to paint a story with your words. It's about putting forward the human face and making that emotional connection. Our lives are rich with content, and your own personal stories are a powerful way to connect with Rotarians. It's about stepping back and looking at situations in your life and appreciating the lessons that they provide for you and for others. And then it's about sharing them. Imagine if we could engage our 1.2 million members as the greatest storytellers of our organization's accomplishments. Everything that we do as Rotarians affects our image and our brand. So quite simply, our ability to tell our story in a compelling way affects how our organization is perceived. A decade ago, I completed one of the biggest challenges of my life. My husband Nick and I climbed nearly 20,000 feet to reach the top of Mount Kilimanjaro in Tanzania, Africa. It was part personal challenge and part a Rotary fundraiser. It took 5 days to reach the summit, the first in lush forest, the second in thick scrub, the third in low scrub, and the fourth day was like landing on the moon, craters, and no sign of life. Now let me explain to you that climbing Kilimanjaro is not a technical climb like Everest. The battle with Kili is altitude. And for me, it was a journey to the depths of positive thinking. By the time we arrived at base camp, above 15,000 feet, 2 of our team members were exhibiting mild signs and medium signs of altitude sickness. It begged the question, should we really be doing this? The summit is attempted at midnight, and it takes somewhere between 6 to 7 hours. It's done at this time because the temperature drops to -20 plus, and it freezes the ground so you can get better traction. For each group that attempts the climb, it's led by a team of guides, and this is a coveted job because of the precious tips that they receive. Now, this is where the story becomes very personal. As we set out that night with only a miner's light on our heads to lead the way, I was torn by whether to feel exhilarated by the opportunity or terrified by the fact that something could go wrong. It wouldn't be until we reached ground level that we would learn that a guide from another team had died, and a 22-year-old man from England was in cardiac arrest. Our guides sang Christmas songs in Swahili, and the rhythm of their music helped to create a pace to our steps. Pole pole in Swahili means to go slow, and it was the mantra of our climb. You see, the best way to ward off altitude sickness is to stay very hydrated and to take time to adjust to each level by going very slowly. Pole pole. I must confess, I entered into this climb perhaps a little too lightly and without the full appreciation of the dangers. I suppose that I knew them, but I was excited by the adventure and most eager to reach the top of the African continent. It seemed like we had been climbing forever when our guide shared that we were only a quarter of the way to the top. It was also at this point that our water, even insulated, was frozen. It took everything in my being to stay focused and to put one foot in front of the other. Inside, I was questioning why I was on the side of this mountain, and I had to dig really deep to stay positive. I was ready to throw in the towel countless times, but to what end? There really wasn't an easy way out. The last hour was the most difficult, and it required a lot of rock climbing. And it was just as the sun was peaking above the horizon that we reached the top. The sky transitioned from a thick carpet of stars to an orange tapestry of color. Now, I tell you this story because it's about climbing to great heights. And isn't Rotary a story that we should be shouting from the top of a mountain? I also see this climb as a metaphor for life and about how we frame the things that are important to us. What are the stories in your own club and districts that help bring Rotary to life? As a global network of professional business and community volunteers, Rotary is a brand that unites the world. We simply have to climb the mountain and shout a little louder. And each one of you are great ambassadors of our message. And it begins daily, simply by wearing your Rotary pin. We see now, more than ever, that clubs that have good public relations are clubs that are growing. And public relations is actually one of our most progressive tools for membership, both recruitment and retention. When we tell our stories, like-minded people want to join with us. It makes it much easier to ask someone to be part of Rotary when they're already aware of what we do. Likewise, there's a sense of pride that's created within our ranks when we see our stories being shared. Members feel good about what they're doing, and in turn, they're buoyed and want to continue doing more. It's a great way to keep our members engaged. If you've gleaned anything in the past few minutes, I hope it's that good public relations is about telling our story. You may, however, be asking, how do I make this happen when I'm not an expert? Well, the first thing that you must realize is it's not your job alone. Good public relations is every member's obligation. We're all ambassadors of Rotary. So how do we showcase what is valuable to us? Not long ago, I was in Chicago visiting my brother. We went shopping one afternoon, and the only thing I wanted to purchase was a gratitude journal. This was a trend several years ago where you would write 3 things a day that you were grateful for, and the premise being that it would help to manifest the power of positive thinking. I thought this was a good thing. We were in a lovely little boutique when I found my book. Very quietly, I said to my husband, "This is my gratitude journal." So I looked around a little bit more and went up to the counter to pay. And I watched as the clerk went down to one end of the counter and took out this beautiful tissue paper and carefully wrapped the book. He then went to the other end of the counter where he found a blue box with gold lines all over the top. He finished it off with an elaborate ribbon and then came forward to give it to me. He said, "I couldn't help but overhear what you said, that this is going to be your gratitude journal. I want to be the first entry in your book. I want you to write that the man that sold me this book made it an even more beautiful experience." He is indeed the first entry. So how do we showcase what's important to us? What's the packaging, the special ribbons that we wrap around Rotary to make it even more beautiful? We do it through public relations. We do it by telling our stories. Rotary, a brand that brings the world together. And so I carry his message of gratitude here today to say thank you. Thank you for all that you have done and all that you are going to do. You have already been touched deeply by this organization, or you wouldn't be sitting here today. When you tell your stories, you're inspiring your clubs, recharging their batteries, and preparing them for the year ahead. Thank you for your leadership, and thank you for being such a vital part of Rotary International. I wish you well on the very best of the rest of your event.
What a great leadership message. Let me leave you with this. What Jen quoted about Maya Angelou, I have learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. So let's carry that message. The second is about public relations. I am so excited to share that our district is putting together a best of the best public image team. If any of you are interested, some of your clubs are already part of this. So this district team will come up with a customized toolkit for each and every club, as well as to the entire district, to enable us to tell stories, to reach out to media, to enhance our public image, to create and continue the perception of the Rotary brand and service, just like McDonald's, Starbucks, and on and on and on, and Apple. So stay tuned. We will have another session just like this, but just on public relations. The other great news I am so excited to share, Jennifer Jones, our president-elect, will be arriving at the Patch on March 10th, and she's agreed to spend the entire that evening as well as the next day, Friday. So be there or be square. For those of you who have not yet registered for the Patch, please do that tonight. Please reach out to Karen and get your registration and the rooms booked, because it'll be one great Patch that we have never seen before, all being managed by the able leadership of Karen Gebris and our entire full committee. And we'll see you all, many of you, at pre-Patch and then on to Patch. Thank you very much. And back to Karen.
Just wanted to close and thank you all so much for all you do for Rotary, for your passion and your commitment. This is truly a great class of club presidents, and I'm so looking forward to your journey next year in walking along with you as you work to engage members and really and truly build that synergy that's going to make this organization even bigger and better. So thank you all for all you do. We'll see you at Pre-Pets and in Kalamazoo in some way. So thanks again. There we go. You and me. Hey.
Wow, everybody stayed, huh? Everybody
Good
stayed.
night. Good night. Yeah, we had I know Roma had to jump off, and I think we only lost one or two for that video. So good job.
And there's still some good comment. Jennifer Jones will be a remarkable leader, and so thank you for making it happen. But I don't know how you do this, Karen. I was kind of listening to you and watching the slides. You come off as no big deal, just and it so blends so nicely. I almost wanted to kind of almost interrupt and say, this is the kind of great training leadership that our district is so fortunate to have. But it's remarkable how you made this happen, Karen, and I can't thank you enough.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
It looks like we have a lot of things. Someone did ask if we could share Jennifer's video, so we want to make sure that we get that out. Renee had asked if that could come to the club. So
what I was thinking, Karen, oh, hold on, let me stop the recording now.